The wife bought a new see-through nightie, wore it without any underclothes, and came swinging before the husband. Aroused, the husband says, "You look so beautiful and sexy, my darling." The wife says, "I know that. I tried it the same way at the store, and the salesman was the first one to tell me that." God said to Adam, "I've got some good news and some bad news. First, the good news, I have given you a brain and a penis. The bad news, I've only given you enough blood to work one of them at a time." A husband and wife are trying to set up a new password for their computer. The husband says, "My penis," and the wife falls on the ground laughing because on the screen it says, "Try again, not long enough." I can't see the point of going to a lap dancing club. If I wanted a woman who would take my money and sexually frustrate me, I would get married. The teacher asked Jimmy, "Why is your cat at school today, Jimmy?" Jimmy replied, crying, "Because I heard my daddy tell my mommy, I am going to eat that pussy once Jimmy leaves for school today." A husband and wife are driving along when they see an injured skunk lying by the roadside. They decide to take it to a vet, but don't have anything to carry it in. "Why not wrap it in your skirt?" suggests the husband. "What about the stink?" protests his wife. Her husband replies, "It'll just have to get used to it." The boss snubs his employee because he took a flashlight with him to a date. What kind of crap happens nowadays? When I was your age, I wasn't carrying a flashlight with me on a date. I was always meeting my girlfriends in the dark. The employee replied, "And what did that get you? Take a look at what you've married into." A husband and wife are in a restaurant eating soup. The wife spills soup all over her and says, "Oh no, I look like a pig." "Yes," replied the husband, "and you also have soup all over you." And that's how the fight started. This 80-year-old couple was celebrating their 60th anniversary, and the wife says to her husband, "Honey, let's get stark naked and sit at the dining table and eat our dinner." As they sat at the dining table, the wife said, "Honey, I am beginning to get very hot and very aroused." The husband says, "That is because you have your tits in the soup." The wife is in the kitchen preparing to boil eggs for breakfast. The husband wanders in, still in his pajamas. She turns to him and says, "I need you to make love to me this very minute." His eyes light up and he thinks, "This is my lucky day." Not wanting to lose the moment, he embraces her and then gives it his all on the kitchen table. Afterwards, she just says, "Thanks," and returns to the kitchen stove. More than a little puzzled, he asks, "What was that all about?" She explains, "Well, the egg timer is broken." The town's wealthiest man is dying and sends for his doctor, lawyer, and priest. On his deathbed, he tells them, "I know I don't have long for this world. Much as I'm told I can't take it with me, I want your help trying. I'm going to give each of you $1 million and want you to put it in the casket before they bury me." All three promise to do so. After the burial, the three are at the wake and, finding some privacy, discuss the last request. "I couldn't put it in. The hospital needs a new wing to treat the growing population around here. It was donated to the hospital," said the doctor. The priest replied, "Don't feel bad. The parish home for orphans and widows needed major repairs, so it was donated for that." The lawyer looked at them and said, "For shame. You broke your promise. I put the whole amount in the coffin. I can't believe I was the only honest one among us." "You did?" asked the pastor. "I didn't see anything in the coffin before they closed it," added the doctor. The lawyer looked at them and said, "I put my check in his suit pocket." There were three guys, a sex addict, a weed addict, and an alcoholic. They all went to hell for their sin and were standing in front of the devil. The devil made a deal with them, saying, "I will lock you in a room with whatever you did for 1,000 years, and if you get over any of your sins, I will send you back to the land of the living, Earth." So, the sex addict got locked in a room full of virgins, the alcohol addict got locked in a room full of beer, and the weed addict got locked in a room full of weed. 1,000 years later, the devil goes to the sex addict. He comes out saying, "Ah, my dick hurts. I'm never having sex again." Poof, he was back on Earth. Next, he opens the alcoholic room, and the alcoholic says, "I'm never having beer again," and gets sent back to Earth. Then, the devil opens the weed addict's room, and the weed addict punches the devil in the face and says, "You forgot my lighter, bitch." A redhead, a brunette, and a blonde were walking through the desert. All of them were thirsty, tired, and hot. All of a sudden, the redhead shouts that he sees a broken-down car not too far ahead of them. All three race to the car, and the redhead pops the hood and grabs the radiator. "Whenever I get thirsty," she tells the other two, "I'll just take a sip from this." The brunette runs and pulls a seat from the front and proudly declares, "Whenever I get too tired, I'll just throw this on the ground and sit on it." With some effort, the blonde pulls the car's door right off and begins to carry it with him. The redhead and brunette, confused, asked her, "What are you going to do with that?" The blonde replied, "If I get too hot, I'll just roll down the window." Three men are stranded on an island. They are close to starvation when a native tribe finds them and takes them back to their camp. The leader says, "Go in a jungle and bring back a fruit, then we will let you live." They go out looking for fruits. The first guy comes back with a peach. The leader says, "Now take the peach and shove it up your ass. If you laugh, we will kill you." He attempts it but has to laugh, so they cut his head off. The second man appears back from his trip with a grape. The leader gives him the same instructions, but the second guy doesn't seem to have any problems, but bursts out laughing midway through his test. He too is beheaded. In heaven, the two guys meet. The first guy says, "I laughed because the peach's fuzz was tickling my bum. Why did you laugh?" The second man responded, "I was doing fine until I saw the third guy come back with a pineapple." Three men die, and they're at the pearly gates awaiting entry into heaven. St. Peter asks the first guy how he died. The guy replied, "St. Peter, I don't really know how it happened, but I'm walking past this apartment building and a refrigerator fell out of the sky, crushed me to death, and here I am." St. Peter replied that the man had led a good life on earth and, through no fault of his own, he died and was granted entry into heaven. St. Peter asked the second guy how he died. The guy said, "I was sure that my wife was cheating on me, so I came home unexpectedly, hoping to catch them together. As I opened the apartment door, I heard a door slam. I ran to the window, saw this man walking on the sidewalk, and I was sure he was the one. In a fit of rage, I grabbed our refrigerator and threw it out the window to kill him. In the process, I had a heart attack and died." St. Peter looked at the man and said that you too had lived a good life on earth, and we understand crimes of passion. The man was granted entry into heaven. St. Peter looked at the third man and asked him the same question. The guy said, "St. Peter, I'm not really sure how I died. I was just sitting in this refrigerator, minding my own business." Three men are sitting on a beach in the south of France. They look out over the water and see Jesus Christ coming toward them. He gets to the three, and the first guy says, "You're the Lord, huh?" "Well, when I was a child, I broke my ankle. It never healed right, and I've never been able to run. If you were the Lord, you could fix that." Jesus looks at him, touches his ankle, and the guy gets up, running down the beach, shouting, "I can run! I can run!" Now, the second guy's a lot more respectful. "Lord," he says, "when I was a child, a firecracker blew out my eardrum. Do you think you could fix it?" Jesus looks at him, touches his ear, and the man runs down the beach after his friend, shouting, "I can hear! I can hear!" Jesus looks at the third guy who gets up and backs away, saying, "You stay away from me. I'm from Rhode Island, and I'm on workman's comp."